Well, welcome back, everyone. I'm super delighted to be presenting and kicking off the next session, and that is a Colombian Fund Showcase. We have an outstanding set of presenters that are going to be joining us today from Colombia. I'm just going to queue up the presentation to walk you through a bit of an intro so we can get an understanding first of situating you in the country, then get an understanding of some of the challenges faced, the assets, the picture of the ecosystem, and then we'll have an opportunity to talk about the funds. So if we just want to pop up the slide presentation, that would be great. Paula from SVX Mexico is going to be also supporting the session today. And just in case the presentation doesn't come up, though, that is okay, because I can also riff with it. That is no problem. Perfect. Excellent. That's great. So just want to situate you in the country of Colombia, which is a beautiful place with wonderful people, assets, and in terms of geography, about 5 or 6 hours by plane from Canada, from Toronto in particular, and is a gateway or entry point into South America. Just a remarkable place to be able to go live and visit, but faced with many complex challenges, social, economic, and environmental. So there's structural, long-standing challenges, from inequality to peace and reconciliation, rural development, and food security. The poly-crises that have been faced in that country have been particularly hardest on women, rural regions, and indigenous communities, as well as the climate and biodiversity crises of the country are existential threats to the people and lands of Colombia. But there are so many assets that this country has. One is a remarkable NGO sector that is incredibly vibrant, a strong professional public sector with a supportive policy environment for entrepreneurship and impact investing, a philanthropic sector that is supportive, dedicates significant assets and contributions to drive social, economic, and environmental impact, natural assets that are unparalleled in other countries around the world. It is the second most biodiverse country on the planet with tremendous natural assets. Remarkable rural communities that are resilient and innovative. Entrepreneurs that are driven, high potential, seeking to start or scale their impact, both in Colombia as well as around the world. And there particularly are many outstanding women-led and women-serving enterprises, as well as financial capital that is local, as well as global investors that would see Colombia as an exciting and interesting impact investment opportunity. We've had the good fortune of being able to work in Colombia for the past 5 or 6 years to get to know the impact investing ecosystem. It's a real pioneer in the region, developing and implementing innovative financing models, including the region's first social impact bond, impact investment fund, many innovative green bonds. The total assets are large. There's about $500 million US in assets. Many corporates and foundations are making investments in the country. Unsurprisingly, agriculture is number one in terms of a priority, but investments are taking place across sectors, including clean technology and housing. And many of the places that are invested in are in the Andean, Pacific, and Caribbean regions. So many of the investments that take place outside of the major cities and centers. And there are many examples of those folks that are doing those investments, doing remarkable work in impact investing, and that's being facilitated through the leadership of my colleague, Paula, and I'll pass to her to talk through the rest of the presentation and to host the rest of the show. So big welcome to Paula.
Thank you very much, Adam. Very happy to be here and to talk to all of you about what we are doing in Colombia, what SVX is developing in Colombia with the support of Global Affairs Canada. So just a little brief story about what we are doing. On October last year, we launched a Programa de Apoyo a la Inversión de Impacto in Colombia, which is a supportive program designed and developed by SVX, as I mentioned, with the support from Global Affairs Canada. We started launching a call for proposals. We received more than 25 teams that want to create a new fund in the country, an impact investment fund. From those, we select 10 funds, 10 teams. And now, today, we are going to present to you 5 of these teams. 5 funds that represent that are a really good representation of our ecosystem in the country about the opportunities that we have in Colombia related to impact investment. So I don't want to take so many time from there to take and explain their investment thesis and their funds. So I'm really happy to introduce Daniela. Daniela is sorry, Daniela. It's a partner from New Ventures. New Ventures is the management team from this Empodera Impact Capital, which is a fund seeking to work with the smart gender health enterprises in LATAM and basically in Colombia. So Daniela, welcome very much, and we're really happy to have you here today.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here pitching all the way from Colombia. So my name is Daniela Pacheco. I am partner in Empodera Impact Capital, the first fund focused on solving some of the most pressing issues in women's health in Latin America. As a team, we are driven by purpose and by passion to support high-impact entrepreneurs. That is why we like to start with our manifesto. We are committed to catalyzing social change by executing our investment strategy that aims to reach 2 million underserved women in Latin America with better access and quality to health services and products by 2030. We want to unlock inclusive gender capital to empower companies to have better built value propositions for their customers and inclusive policies that can trigger high growth and reduce risk. Our job is not only to invest, but to break the barriers for women-led ventures by empowering our future portfolio entrepreneurs to become thought leaders and ambassadors of change for more equitable societies and a health sector as a whole. Why does this matter? Because we are certain that employing a gender lens in health is the solution we need to make sure we build a more equitable, socially just society in LATAM. We see 3 opportunities. 90% of health decisions are made by women in their families, while 70% of the workforce is female. However, only 4% of managerial roles are occupied by women. It is not only about equality, it's about the disconnection between the health sector and their ultimate client, leading to worse services and the vicious cycle of lack of access. On the other hand, we saw COVID push 22 million people in the region to poverty, mostly women. Confinement forced women to leave their jobs, lose their independence and power in the workplace, making the gender gap even worse. And on top of that, only 5% of capital goes to women. This reveals an incredible opportunity to invest in women and in women's health, to foster better health services and products. When women are empowered of their health, it generates an incredible impact, not only in them, but in their communities, their families, and breaks down the circle of poverty. Empodera Capital is a $20 million fund focused on solving some of the most pressing issues in women's health, but also provides technical assistance for gender mainstreaming that given our experience has allowed companies to create strong values proposition. Our team has more than 20 years of experience mobilizing and investing in impact companies in Latin America. We have a great ecosystem. We founded the first impact fund in the region called Adobe. We also accelerate about 150 entrepreneurs a year, working with corporate partners like Facebook, Shell, and Bayer. This means that we have a unique ability to find pipeline all over the region, while some investors may not step up for the challenge. This dream started 3 years ago when we launched an acceleration program working with 10 amazing companies of this sort, which we have tracked in the past years and have great growth rates and profitability. We mapped over 270 companies to identify the true needs these companies have in terms of support and resources. To give you an idea, we're working with companies that are fighting HPV virus in Mexico, who already have 4 clinics and are ready to scale and replicate. We work with software as a service companies that can reduce breast cancer diagnosis in half and already have presence in 5 countries. Our 4 main strategic entry points are addressing the critical gender issue in developing countries with proven impact on invested capital, our unique pipeline of advanced opportunities. We have geographic and currency diversification with a strong forecast in economic returns, and we are unwaveringly committed to the expertise in measuring, managing communicated impact data. We are ecosystem builders with the FLEA, the most important impact investment conference in Latin America. We invite you to join the change. You can be the change. You can be part of changing the lives of over 2 million women in LATAM in the next years. Are you ready for the challenge?
Thank you very much, Daniela. Really interesting to hear about Impodera and really nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Now I'm happy to present Pantera Makers. Pantera is one of the most recognized accelerators in Colombia and Latam, with more than 12 years of experience in the market and in the entrepreneurship and innovation ecosystem, growing startups and companies in multiple sectors, regions, sizes, or stages. We have today Alejandro with us. Alejandro is the CEO at Pantera Makers, and they are going to talk about their fund, Pantera 4i. Welcome, Alejandro.
Thank you, Paula. Thanks having you here, and thank you for the invitation as well. So my name is Alejandro Gomez. We are Pantera Makers. We're introducing Pantera 4i. We are, as Paula said before, we are one of the most successful business accelerators, not only in Colombia, but also in Latam, with now 13 years of experience in the market, helping startups to grow and helping the ecosystem as well to grow. This is just some metrics that we have for our top 10 of startups in the last 2 years. Their growth of them is amazing in terms of new customers, new users, but also annual sales growth. All our companies are profitable since day zero, and they have access also to new markets and also to investment as well. We are members of many organizations here in the region, but I want to tell you in what we believe in. We believe that companies from any region are able to grow exponentially, no matter where they are. That's why we built Pantera 4i, which means impact, investment, inclusion, and innovation. So we launched a $6 million USD early stage impact fund in Latam to invest in startups leading by women or focus on ethnic diversity that are willing to solve problems based on access to income, access to food, and climate change, green energies through technology during our acceleration program. So this is the road of La Pantera, especially based for La Amazonia and the emerging cities in the country and also in Latam. Here are a bunch of cities that we have in Colombia where we are looking for solutions in these sectors, and also we have impact in other countries in the region as well. Everything is very focused on emerging and sustainable cities. We also have our gender lens, which means that startups with a woman founder, or a startup with at least 1/3 of women in C-level, or startups with at least 50% of women in their board, or startups that are helping close gender gaps. Also, ethnic diversity, indigenous communities, African Americans, Black people, and other ethnic minorities that we have here in the region, such as racials, immigrants, and people from the Pueblo Palenquero. What are we looking for? Startups founded by them, or with at least 33% of ethnic diversity in the C-level, or with at least 50% of ethnic diversity in their jobs, or startups that with proven hiring ethnic diversity policies into the companies. Our industries prioritize our climate change, access to income, and access to food, everything through technology, and those are the sectors in tech that we are invested in. So basically what we do is that we have our own acceleration program, which is called Expedition Pantera, that has 3 steps: preparation, journey, and investment. In preparation, the deadlines for submissions is tomorrow. So if you know some startups that are based on this thesis, you can ask them to join us. We have our kickoff in 1 month, and we start the call from the batch second, the 1st of August as well. For Journey, which is more an acceleration program, we will start the 1st of October. And for investment, we will invest 50K in each startup, 35 in cash, 15 in acceleration fees, up to 10 startups per batch. And we hope to start this batch by the Q2 of 2024. Why us? Because we walk the talk. We've been and we are committed in the 32 states of Colombia. We've been there. We have first-hand knowledge of the challenges faced by entrepreneurs in those regions, so we know how to help them grow in every region of the country. These 6 million, we are going to use them to the impact fund to run 5 acceleration batches and do some follow-ons and eventually some direct investments. The metrics that we want to put is that we have a 2% of management fees, carry of 80% and 20%, and also multiple on investment capitalized of 3.5x. So this is the team, my partners, Claudia Hernandez, Andres Mejia, Andres Pulido, Manuela Zuluaga. This is an amazing team that are working with me the whole time. And I just wanted to tell you, I just want to go back to the metrics that we have in our previous program. So if those are the impact that we've had, not giving them investment in the previous cohorts, what can we do and what we could have achieved with them if we should have put some money on them? So that's what we want to do for the next 10 years. We are very happy and very proud of our numbers and our metrics, but we know that with the right investment, these companies can grow faster and the impact can be even higher than it is already. So thank you for your time, and with your help, I know that LATAM will grow. Thank you.
Thank you, Alejandro. Really interesting. Now, I want to welcome Diego Lozano from Campo Capital. Campo Capital is an investment managing company in Colombia dedicated to agroforestry sector and founded in September 2010. They want to mitigate climate change through investment in agroforestry and ecosystem conservations in Latin America. So welcome, Diego. I'm happy to hear from you and your fund.
Good morning, good afternoon to everybody. Thank you very much for the invitation. We are going to present Campo Capital Impact Fund. We are a company that we are really passionate about our country, about nature-based solutions, about nature. Campo Capital, our motivation, and much more than a motivation, is our worry, is that the climate change is simply the greatest and collective challenge for the human family. And this is what we are facing right now, and this is our motivation to work. Sadly, the world has a record high of emissions, and this is something that we want to stop. We are really committed to be part of the solution. We want to be part of this solution before the moment, before the time where there is no return. And we work with forestry and lands. This is what we are doing for the last 13 years, and this is something that we want to be part of this solution. Our fund, our strategy is Campo Capital Impact Fund. It's a 70 million fund to mitigate climate change by investing in agroforestry and ecosystem conservation projects in Latin America, generating income mainly through carbon and biodiversity credits. We are also having some other revenue stream. Campo Capital Impact Fund, it's a fund that will be based in Toronto, Canada, using the great and the important help and grants that we have received from SVX during this program. Campo Capital Impact Funds apport to different SDGs. We impact biomass, energy production, economic growth, life on land. We work very hard to reduce inequalities and climate action, which is maybe the core of this fund. In the long term, we expect to sequestrate more than 9 million tons of CO2 equivalent and have an emissions of carbon credits for the same amount. We are looking to have a conservation of more than 100,000 hectares and to plant more than 20 million native species trees. This is our main objectives, working in different ecosystems with different type of conditions and different type of communities that will be involved. Our pipeline is mainly focused in Colombia and Peru, with different type of options that we can do for the nature-based solutions like forestation and reforestation in ARR, RED+ projects, avoid ecosystem compensation, blue bonds in our coast, agricultural land management, and waste handling and disposals. We have already identified many opportunities in different countries, especially Colombia and Peru, but we have seen some other opportunities in Central America and in Paraguay. Campo Capital, it's a company that started in 2010. We have more than 11 million trees already planted. We have a conservation of more than 70,000 hectares already, but we have built and structured projects in more than 250,000 hectares. We have operational experience planting more than 10,000 hectares, and we have already issued carbon credits for more than 1 million tons. Our standards of certifications are mainly certifications in ICROA standards like BERRA. We have other certifications like FSC certifications, and we managed since 10 years ago more than $60 million in our investments. This is mainly Campo Capital. Campo Capital team is composed by Paula Sanchez and me as the partners, but we have a team that has worked with us for more than 5 years. We are a team that is already established, that has a lot of experience working together. So we really hope that you can travel along with Campo Capital. We are passionate about what we are doing. We have experience managing resources. Our outcomes also show our experience. So we are really invite you to travel along with Campo Capital. Thank you.
With us. Now I want to invite David, managing partner at AMLO, with their first place-based fund. Blooming Roots contribute to the reactivation of Providence and Santa Catalina after a hurricane in Colombia. Now they are seeking to raise their second fund, and so happy to learn about you and your fund, David. Thank you.
Paula, thank you very much for the introduction. Great to see you all. So today we're going to present how is that we're investing in gender-inclusive nature-based businesses to achieve inclusive and sustainable economic development. As Paula was mentioning in the picture, we have Carla, Winston, Shanine. These have been some of the people that have been receiving our support and now are thriving with their profitable businesses in Providencia. How is it that this came about? In November 18, 2020, there was a hurricane that hit the island of Providencia. We worked along with Bancoldex and thought about how to, through private capital, be able to do investments so that these entrepreneurs that lost everything could flourish. And we had one hypothesis that goes all throughout this pitch, that traditional investing is unsuitable to generate inclusive and sustainable development. Since then, we have deployed $1 million, ticket sizes between 10 and 15K USD, and have partners with us, such as UNDP, working in retail, tourism, and agriculture to achieve this profitable, inclusive, and sustainable development. More specifically, we have been working and achieved 19 formal employees out of the companies that we have invested. 5 businesses have been reactivated. 100% of those businesses are receiving technical assistance, and over 80% of the businesses have local leadership. A local leadership led by female and by women that are improving the lives of others' employees. What is our secret sauce? At the end of the day, what we're doing is we are understanding how the challenges of the region could be overcome by private investments. We're also using a tailored investment strategy using a blended finance multi-instrument vehicle. And we are articulating ourselves with different actors and building upon what others have done. That is what we have done so far in this small island with this pilot. And we want to do is basically improve and become larger and be able to scale our impact through a $50 million fund that invests in for-profit businesses in Latin America that empower rural communities to generate gender-inclusive economic opportunities that foster the sustainable use of natural resources through blended finance strategy, combining innovative investing with technical assistance. That is what we're going to do. Where's the opportunity, or why do we think that we're going to be successful? Basically, because as we were mentioning at the beginning of this speech, Latin America, especially Colombia, has a lot of nature potential. 34% of the world's plants and tree species, we have it in the region. We have 40% of world's biodiversity, but we only contribute towards 22% of that global GDP. So if we invest in sectors such as bioeconomy, sustainable tourism, agroforestry, we can unlock nature capital, and we could generate more than 80 million jobs by 2030. And we can unlock those 4.5 trillion of opportunities based on nature-based enterprises. More than that, women are central in contributing towards solving this climate change and these opportunities in rural areas. They play a critical role, and we have an inequality, a problem, an underlying gender inequality in rural areas that we are solving through these investments, as we have shown in our pilot, where 80% of the women own the enterprises that we have invested in. So our fund is a $50 million fund. It's going to be a 10-year fund with approximately between 18 to 25 investments, investing in multiple tranches from 150K to 2 million investments per company, a hurdle rate of 6%, and we project a net IRR to our investors of 11 to 12% annually, investing in tourism, bioeconomy, and agro industry in Latin America. Particularly, we are going to present the organizations that are behind the fund management of this fund, basically AMPLO and this Partners, which is a science spin-off of Grassroots Business Fund. We have experience working with over 50 enterprises, providing investment readiness in Central America and Colombia. We have structured and managed vehicles also to invest in these companies. We have worked in Peru, developing markets, and support more than 44 million in direct funds, investing in more than 50 investments that have mobilized or have impacted more than 6.5 million people. These are our team members, myself, David, Natasha Baransteva, Julio, Aika, Mariana Rivas, and our investment committee is formed by Harold Rosen, Jaime Ramirez, Linian Miramba, all of them with extensive experience investing IFC. They have worked in IFC and in emerging markets. What we want to do with this team is basically increase the income for rural workers, work with businesses that are increasing the capital access to those in need, improving the way that natural habitat is sustainably management, and empowering female entrepreneurs. We are using innovative finance vehicles that have proven right for the type of investments that we're doing, such as revenue-based finance and mezzanine debt. And as I mentioned before, we expect an average of 11% of net IRR that could be improved by commercializing carbon and biodiversity credits. Thank you very much.
Very much, David. Really interesting hearing about Blooming Roots too. And now I'm going to present Jimena. Jimena is director at Inversor. Inversor is a non-profit organization working for the impact ecosystem in Colombia. They launched the first impact fund in the country, and they are developing innovative finance structures such as impact social fund bonds in Colombia. So welcome, Jimena. I'm happy to have you here.
Thank you, Paula and SVX. I'm very sorry for my voice. Morning, everyone. My name is Jimena Trujillo. I'm the managing director of Inversor, Colombia's first impact asset manager. Founded in 2009 by 13 well-known institutions from the financial and social sector in Colombia, we paved the way for the impact investing industry here in this country, launching the first purpose-driven fund in 2011, comprising 5 portfolio companies with a high social and environmental impact as the first pilot fund in the country. But also, in 2017, we pioneered the first social impact bond in an emerging market. Was the first one in Colombia for Latin America. This enabled us to become a comprehensive impact asset manager in Colombia. Harnessing our relevant experience, we are raising a $30 million fund focused on missing middle companies with high growth potential located in Colombia and similar economies in Latin. This fund has 2 main approaches. Firstly, we have climate action and sustainable territories, which comprises companies involved in renewable energy, circular economy, mobility, these industries where we have a lot of experience because of our fund number 1. On the other hand, we have inclusion and access to opportunities, which includes the tech, HR tech, and agri-industry, also experience industry for us. We also have a cross-sectional priority on gender lens that comprises an understanding of the impact that should be generated through women-led enterprises, women-serving products, or women employability and communities engagement. Our support to investees is threefold. We closely assist them to grow their business model, to design and manage an impact strategy. Really important, manage this impact strategy in order to scale the results and to implement sound corporate governance policies. All of this with the attempt to overcome the emerging challenges along their growth path. For us, generating impact means to intentionally create a measurable benefit for those who need the most in the long term. This impact should be present throughout the portfolio companies, including the supply chain, the core business, and the products and services being offered. Also, in order to ensure the investee success, from lesson learning from our purpose-driven fund number 1 and attainment of the impact goals, we have come up with a catalytic fund that will be allocated in 3 purposes: the measurement of the impact, the implementation of gender equality strategies, and the support to some business model aspects. We have right now, after many years, we have a strong position and network for pipeline generation, which provides us with first-hand access to companies that align with our investment thesis and impact goals. Cesar and I have over 15 years of experience creating value for both the portfolio companies and investors. We are backed by a highly experienced and renowned steering committee for more than 10 years, and the trust of our current investors, a mix of investors from social but also institutionals in Colombia. Finally, this is a general overview of the fund's milestones. We have an initial closing of $10 million right now, and a 1-year time frame from the final closing of $30 million. We expect to invest in about 15 companies with an average ticket of $1.5 million per company. We hope you may join us in this incredible journey, and we may generate a positive and measurable change in Colombia and Latam. Thank you.
Wonderful. Many thanks. And many thanks to all the presenters that joined us here today. If you want to learn more, you'll see in the chat There's an event coming up on June 22nd from 1 to 2:30 p.m. Eastern, so you can have an opportunity to hear more presentations and learn more about what's happening in the ecosystem. Also want to thank Paula Delgadillo for her leadership, just been doing remarkable work, is an outstanding leader, not only in Colombia, but around the world in making all of this happen. And I think also Global Affairs Canada, as was mentioned at the beginning, which has been incredibly supportive of building impact investing ecosystems, and it supported the development of this particular program around supporting funds, intermediaries, and enterprises in the country. And I think Canada has a lot to learn. Maybe this is kind of one final editorial message from Colombia and alongside Colombia. There's often, I think, a look we have to the UK or Australia, some other countries. Obviously, lots to learn there, but there's a ton for us to learn from what's happening in Colombia, Latin America, and other places in the global south. And I think we do that with an opportunity for mutually beneficial exchange. There will be a summit that's coming up in November. More information is going to be shared about that. So what's next in the program? I have an outstanding session that's taking place right now on reimagined language. So if you want to close out your window and then go and find the panel, click on the link for that particular outstanding and exciting session, which is going to be in progress. So thanks so much for joining us today. Thanks to Helen, as always, for doing a great job of producing, and hope you enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you.